Overseas tonight, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un continues the purge of his Politburo. According to reports, he executed his top army general, citing corruption and abuse of power. And according to intelligence reports from neighboring South Korea, there have been more than 70, check that, 70 similar executions since Kim Jong-un took power. Let's call on our panel to talk about this story. From Newsmax Washington, Patrick Murray, retired U.S. Army colonel who served in Iraq, Russia, and at the United Nations. Patrick's also the author of the book, Government is the Problem. And likewise, joining us from Newsmax Washington, a guy who used to try to solve problems in government with me up on Capitol Hill, former Congressman Michael Patrick Flanagan of Illinois. Michael is currently the president of Flanagan Consulting. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time tonight. Colonel, first to you. This execution by Kim, yet another move to tighten his grip on power, or something more sinister or Stalinist in this approach?
Well, good evening, JD. Look, Kim Jong-un is an angry, erratic, petulant millennial with nukes who inherited an entire country from his daddy. So if you're one of his subordinates, you don't want to cross him, or you'll wind up just like General Rhee, dead, as well as many other people that he's purged throughout the military and inside of his government.
Well, while that situation continues in Pyongyang, Michael Patrick Flanagan back in Washington on Capitol Hill last night, the Senate approved additional sanctions against North Korea for that recent rocket launch, but the country's not really responded to these sanctions. So should there be more sanctions, or what action should we take against North Korea?
Well, if we had the political resolve, the correct answer is to go to Beijing and ask them to solve the Korean problem. If we had a tougher talk with the Chinese, the Korean issue would be settled, because the Chinese are their leash holders to a large extent. And I'll tell you, although they enjoy a sort of bizarre autonomy away from the Chinese, they don't travel too far away from the fold. And if we really want to get serious with North Korea, we have got to start dealing with Chinese in something other than a supplicant sort of way, which is what we do now.
Patrick, I guess it comes as no surprise that the Obama administration is skeptical of North Korea's ability to follow through on its many bellicose threats. But while the White House maintains a casual scrutiny of North Korea, how critical, how serious are these North Korean taunts and threats?
It's a substantial threat, JD. They have nuclear weapons, and now they're testing missiles, ballistic missiles, that could conceivably reach the United States. And so that's something that we have to take seriously. I understand Congress's frustration waiting for Obama to try to get his act together up in the United Nations and to deal with something out of the Security Council and to go through Beijing. That's exactly correct. That's where the solutions come through, and that's who's protecting North Korea right now.
And Michael Patrick Flanagan, of immediate concern, the North Koreans, apparently Kim Jong-un has told his military to take over those inter-Korean factories, the joint-run facilities, and the last major symbol of cooperation between North and South Korea. Is North Korea getting ready for war with the South?
I think North Korea has been ready for war with the South since the 40s. I think that the joint operation factories and other joint things that the South Koreans have done with the North have been a desire by them to have the impossible. And many have warned them over the years that this is a waste of effort and will wind up in a transfer of technology and effort to them that in an undeserved way, and that they will eventually steal. And now they're stealing it. And I think the people who are stuck on this are Hyundai and the South Korean government, who really should have been smarter to begin with. But there are transnational problems with families across both borders, with tribes across both borders, with long, ancient histories that we can't even imagine, that they have to pay some attention to. And so that's a problem for the South. But they are going to get basically screwed over every time when they deal with the North like this, and this is another example of it.
Well, from provocations in Asia to provocations elsewhere, specifically Iran, and a parade to ridicule our sailors who were taken hostage. There's the picture filling your screen as the Iranians reenact and mock the capture of our sailors during their recent parade. It appears there is nothing the Iranians won't do or can't do to try to embarrass the United States, and Colonel, still President Obama, and those who serve in his cabinet are remarkably, how could we put it, remarkably passive when it comes to Iran.
JD, this is about an Obama legacy. In their mind, it's not about U.S. or international national security. And there is, you're exactly right, it is a sign of our weakness that we see North Korea, Iran, ISIS, Russia, all these threats that are growing around the world because the United States is leading from behind. The United States is AWOL. It's going to continue to happen as long as Obama's in office.
Final 30 seconds to Michael Patrick Flanagan. Break this down in Chicagoese for me if you can, Mike, because you got the Obama machine that plays brass knucks politics in the United States, yet is so indulgent of the Iranian dictatorship. What's at work there?
Well, this particular bit about the military is you got to stand in their hippie shoes. They hate the U.S. military every bit as much as the Iranians do, profoundly so, on an ingrained basis. And to see a bunch of sailors crying probably made some of them smirk. So I have no understanding of how that works in the head of the chief executive, who's the commander-in-chief of an army, who truly detests the institution for which he's in charge of. But that's what's at work here. I think if they had made a bunch of diplomats cry, you'd probably have some outrage at the White House. But the military, that's okay.
And we will have to leave it there. Michael Patrick Flanagan and Patrick Murray. Gentlemen, you have our thanks.